a Canadian southpaw who has been a submission machine thus far, Mitch Gagnon. A lifelong wrestler from the grappling hotbed of Iowa, Timmy Gorman won 8 of his 10 mixed martial arts bouts on the local circuit, 7 of those by knockout. After that run, the Psycho got a call to compete on Season 18 of The Ultimate Fighter. But despite his protests, he was forced from the competition due to injury. Tonight, Gorman gets his second chance against Mitch Gagnon. Ontario's Gagnon has had an impressive trek in the UFC thus far, with a fight of the night scrap against Brian Caraway, followed by back-to-back submissions of YL Watson and Dustin Kimura. And he's not about to let his Canadian fans down here tonight. Coming up next, Timmy the Psycho Gorman faces Mitch Gagnon. This is UFC Fight Pass. Come on! Woo! Let's get it, baby! Yeah! Well, it doesn't take much, Kenny, to fire up the Psycho Tim Gorman, but this is about as big as it gets for him, his UFC debut. At times, candidly, it was a moment he wondered whether or not it would materialize. He represented Team Tate on that 18th season of The Ultimate Fighter. Won his first fight by first-round stoppage, but ultimately a torn hamstring forced him off the show.
Yeah, you know, he missed his opportunity to compete on that season of The Ultimate Fighter, and here he has his chance. He is in the UFC and has a tough opponent in Gagnon, but they're pretty similar in that they're both like to take the fight to the mat. I think Gorman is a very strong, powerful wrestler. Obviously likes to get that top position, and Gagnon obviously more of a submission guy. But Gorman's a goer. He likes to move forward and get in your face, and that's exactly what he needs to do against Mitch Gagnon.
Tim Gorman comes in having won 3 fights in a row. As you see there, 7 first-round finishers. He's very much a grinder, likes to bully guys, and stylistically, that's what he'll likely be looking to do here tonight against the favorite, Mitch Gagnon. And, you know, for Tim Gorman, I've been training in mixed martial arts for 11 years. It's finally materialized, and I think he was like a lot of fighters who came to a crossroads. Was this going to be a hobby or a lifestyle? He made it a lifestyle, and now he's in the big show. Well, with no shortage of motivation and momentum in its own right, here is the 29-year-old Mitch Gagnon, set to make his 4th UFC appearance here tonight. Kenny comes in having won 8 of his last 9.
I like Gagnon. This is a guy who wants to go out there and win the fight on his terms, and by that I mean he likes to finish. He wants to go out there. He's very aggressive. He's fun to watch, and he's a submission expert. This is a guy who wants to go out there and make you tap out.
Well, and that's exactly what he's done. 10 professional wins, all of them by way of submission, 6 by guillotine choke, another 3 by rear naked choke, and actually forced one opponent to submit after a slam. And 9 of those 10 stoppages came in the first round. So Mitch Gagnon doesn't waste a whole lot of time in there and comes in riding high after 2 consecutive first-round submission victories here in the UFC.
Fighting here in his home country, so I'm sure the fans will be behind him tonight. But Gagnon just really very exciting to watch, stays very calm, but he pressures you. You know, I like how technical he is, always looking for the submission.
And an interesting test for him here tonight in Tim Gorman, whom he calls very explosive. You know, Mitch Gagnon very much has visions of a title run. He's got to get through this test as about a 3.5 to 1 favorite here tonight. All right, let's get to the tape for this bantamweight clash. Mitch Gagnon, 29 years old, against the 30-year-old American Tim Gorman. Both guys 5 foot 5 inches tall. A lot of similarities across the board. It's a slight half-inch reach advantage for Tim Gorman. All right, for the particulars, we go inside the octagon to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a grappler holding a professional record, 9 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 136 pounds. Fighting out of Des Moines, Iowa, USA, Tim the Psycho Gorman. And now introducing his opponent, Fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist, fully professional record, 10 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 136 pounds. Fighting out of Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, Mitch Gagnon. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Dan Mergliata.
So Dan Mergliata, our referee, 3 rounds if needed at 135 pounds. Thanks to Vanessa for getting us going.
You ready, sir? Let's go.
And immediately it is Gorman taking the center of the octagon against Mitch Gagnon. Southpaw versus southpaw here, but Gorman opening up in the orthodox stance.
Yeah, both guys actually. Pretty interesting.
Nice defensive boxing there by Gorman to get out of the way. Gagnon lands with the leg kick. Big body shot there.
Now Gorman doing a good job of trying to jam him as he comes forward.
Gagnon having some success to the body here early.
And Gorman's got to be careful because he's starting to duck down, may duck down into a big kick or left hook there. Gagnon was looking for that left hook early in the fight.
And Gagnon to the body with conviction there.
Look at this, Gagnon might be trying to go for a guillotine here. Gorman trying to run the single. He hits it right into a guillotine though. Looks like he's okay from this position. Might be able to work a reversal.
As we mentioned, that has been the primary finishing weapon for Mitch Gagnon throughout his mixed martial arts career.
Yes, very dangerous with his guillotine attacks and transitions here. Going forward again, might be looking for a reversal here. See if he can sweep the wrestler Gorman. Gorman doing a good job of controlling that leg. Needs to hop up and over to the left to avoid that guillotine. If he does really go for it, looks like Gagnon's really just trying to see what he can get, whether it's a sweep or that guillotine, just kind of reacting off of what Gorman's doing here. So far, no success on the submission.
2 minutes into the fight, Tim Gorman doing a nice job staying calm defensively against a guy, Mitch Gagnon, who really has been a sniper early on in his MMA career. The first round has been when most of his pro fights have ended.
I'm surprised that Gagnon is not switching to that high elbow guillotine. He hasn't had any success really with that arm in guillotine. Gorman, very used to this kind of front headlock position from his wrestling days, of course. Gagnon now kind of pinned up against the cage. It could be tough for him to finish.
Is this more fatiguing offensively or defensively?
You know, it depends on how much energy Gagnon is using here. He's got to be careful to not burn out his arms. Gorman, very relaxed in here. Didn't really have to use a lot of energy on the defense there. Just had to kind of tuck his chin, control that wrist of Gagnon. And they're back to their feet here.
And Gagnon mixing things up nicely as he lands the uppercut on the way out there. The body shot has been there throughout. Oh, Gagnon again lands to the midsection of Tim Gorman. Another stance switch there by Gagnon.
There's Gorman in on a single. Trying to run the pipe. He gets the takedown now. Gagnon back to his feet here. In a fight that Gorman really likes. It's been a grinding style of fight. Here he is in the clinch on that body lock. He has a cross wrist on the right arm of Gagnon.
Watch that left hand! Block with the knee, toss him over here. Watch that left hand!
Good work, guys.
Pressure with that wizard. Pressure with the left wizard. Use it, Tim.
southpaw stance, now going back to righty. Definitely more active from that southpaw stance.
You're over here, so you're right there, right?
Let's lower your heart rate a little bit, okay? Let's get a slow lower your heart rate before you move. Okay. You're doing great. Your straights. Okay. Keep confusing him. Body, hand, because he's not liking the body shots. But don't be afraid to go back to the hand now. Okay? Feel fight with the hand, okay, in your pocket. You're going to get your hips. Okay? Adjust where you need to. Okay? You're doing great. Keep it in the same thing that you're doing. It's great. Just to find it. You know where to find it. Body, hand, okay? Throw it up. We need these rounds. Come on, deep breath. Take a deep breath. So, arm mode, orangutan, correct. Let it go. Let the hands go and wrestle. Hands go and wrestle. I need damage. I need that right hand going.
There's a piece of tape on your foot.
All right, we're ready for round 2 here on the bantamweight division. Tim Gorman, Mitch Gagnon.
Okay, round 2, you ready? Round 2, let's go.
Go get it! Hey, back to go on this train.
Inside leg kick is there for Gagnon, who continues to mix it up in the striking game.
Yeah, Gagnon's been throwing a lot of volume from that southpaw stance. Nice left uppercut from Mitch. And it's Gorman who's in on the leg, trying to finish that high crotch takedown here. Gagnon doing a good job of defending so far.
So the defensive wrestling holding up for Mitch Gagnon thus far.
Heel the toe, Mitch. Heel the toe the whole time. Spread yourself. That's it. Players will go. Go back to the single, Tim. Heel the toe.
Gagnon doing a good job of keeping that split stance, forcing him to switch to that single.
Up your hands. Head on head. Head on head.
Gorman very committed to that single right now. Getting outstruck on the feet by Mitch Gagnon. And you heard in the corner of Gorman, Eric Del Fierro telling him, let's let those hands go, but doesn't quite have that comfort just yet with his striking.
Heavy hips again.
Yeah, the expectation coming in was that Mitch Gagnon would be the more offensive fighter, and at least to this point, as we get closer to the midpoint of the fight, that is the way it's played out.
Now look at this, here's that high elbow guillotine, John. Gorman with an excellent counter, but he was in trouble there. Beautiful defense from Tim Gorman. And a nifty little flying knee from Gagnon.
Couple elbows there to the side of Timmy Gorman.
There's another high elbow guillotine. This one is very dangerous. Gorman forced to drop to his back. Obviously the better choice than tapping out, went right to his back. He had to in order to defend against that submission. That was very tight.
So plenty of time with which to work now for Mitch Gagnon inside of Tim Gorman's guard.
Inside. Yeah. Okay, more. There you go.
Oh, strong hammer fist there. As we now do hit the midpoint of the fight.
Fingers out of the fence. Get your fingers out of the fence.
There you go. More hits.
Gorman with a very nice escape. He's back to his feet. Now he's out of that front headlock.
Left hook for Tim Gorman. Not a ton behind it, but it lands. Big right hand there for Gorman.
And we're seeing a lot of heart from Gorman. He's eaten a lot of shots. He's been able to avoid a few submission attempts from Gagnon, but he is firing right back at the clinch.
Keep going. Here he's head. Let's go overhook.
And Gagnon's consistent ability to stay upright has really muted the wrestling offense of Tim Gorman.
Take your hand back. There you go. That's it.
It has, and that will tire a guy out. And it frustrates you. It tires you out mentally as well when you're constantly being thwarted on your takedown attempts. It's very frustrating. Gorman not backing down, though. He's continuing with this high-pressure style. He's grinding Gagnon up against the fence here. It's been a brutal pace so far.
So two guys known for dusting opponents in the first round very well might be forced into a third here tonight in Quebec City. Under a minute now to go in round two.
Here's another guillotine attempt from Gagnon. Now he's sat to guard, and Gorman is out again. Beautiful escape, and now Gagnon working on an arm lock here. Gorman countering very well. Gagnon's trying to switch to a triangle choke. Beautiful escape from Tim Gorman.
Yeah, the submission defense, Kenny, has been impressive.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of guys who've been able to avoid the submissions of Gagnon like that. He's now in a half guard, but he looks very tired.
Let it go, Jimmy. Let it go. Just resting now, Mitch. Finish. Let it go.
Let's go.
Couple counter shots there from Gagnon. Gorman trying to mount some offense here towards the end of round two.
Here's that.
Start first. Okay, awesome. Great defense. Nice and long. Getting better ahead.
First man, get in space right away. Get in space. Take him out. Yes, get in space. Get in space. Take a breath. Your breath, stand up. Stop. Last round. Let's go. They're not going to get it. They're going to get it. Seconds out.
So we are ready for the third and final round, and both cornermen, red and blue, really looking for their fighter to be first. It's been a pretty furious pace thus far.
Yeah, and it's been a fight for that all night. Both men have been very aggressive. Gagnon has been more of a volume striker on the feet. Gorman has been effective from that close range. And look at this. Gagnon switching things up and goes for the takedown and puts Gorman on his back once again.
So not what Tim Gorman was looking for here early on in our third and final round.
Yeah, that's it. Get some posture with those hits. More hits. Can't get up like that. Let's go.
And we remind you, following UFC Fight Night Bisping versus Kennedy, the premiere of our 19th season of The Ultimate Fighter. Frank Edgar and BJ Penn, your coaches. That is later tonight, roughly 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
On that single leg again. Gagnon with that right underhook is thwarting that attempt as they exchange positions from that clinch here. And it's been a battle for head position. Gagnon's done a good job of elevating that head of Gagnon, preventing that takedown up against the cage. Seen a lot of fighters adjust so well to defending the takedown up against the cage. What was a disadvantage has become an advantage for a lot of guys who want to keep the fight on the feet. Nice, another body shot from Gagnon there.
Yeah, the body shot has been there most of the night from Mitch Gagnon, and he lands again.
Yeah, from his orthodox position, his left uppercut has been very effective against Tim Gorman.
And you know, Gorman might have the edge in terms of the one-punch power. 8 career wins by knockout, all by punches, but just has been on the wrong end of the striking equation here tonight.
Yeah, he just hasn't been able to really get off on his punches. It's been Gagnon who's really initiated, and that has been the difference. Now Gorman really trying to be first with his striking. Gorman has an excellent jab, has good fundamentals, just doesn't have that comfort just yet on the feet. Another left uppercut from the southpaw stance this time, though, from Gagnon.
And he follows it up with a knee. And, of course, Tim Gorman making his UFC debut here tonight. So You know, that's got to count for something.
That is absolutely a factor, and what we're finding out about Tim Gorman is that he has a lot of heart. He has not backed down 1 inch against Gagnon. He's been in some very difficult positions, and he's responded very well.
All right, separate. Hands up.
So with 2 minutes to go in the fight, we get a separation back to the center of the octagon.
This really has been a crazy pace, John. I mean, this is a grinding style, and it's Gagnon, look at this, with a beautiful double leg as he gets inside the guard of Tim Gorman, and these guys have been non-stop.
And Gagnon, Kenny, really has mixed it up across all phases of the game here tonight beautifully.
Yes, and I think it's that lack of comfort on Gorman's part that has been the difference. Gagnon has been able to get off on his punches a little bit more. Gorman has been a little bit more hesitant. And Gagnon now is being very effective with his takedowns and offensive wrestling here.
Make something happen, Gorman!
There we go, there we go.
Gorman trying to attack with a triangle. He's trying to push that wrist between his legs and attack that triangle choke. But Gagnon, he's onto it, defends very well.
Under a minute now to go in the fight.
Come on, guys, work.
Get some knees up! Watch the posture! Watch the posture!
Gorman going for it again.
Stand up! Stand up! You gotta move!
Gagnon defending very well. He got his left arm back into the picture, but beautiful attack there from Tim Gorman.
Gagnon's corner asked him there to stand up. He ignored those imperatives.
35 seconds. Let's go. Clear the hands. That's it.
Might be able to attack an arm lock here.
Jimmy, 30 seconds. No. 30 seconds. Let's go, baby. Okay.
Elbow there for Gagnon. You see Gorman trying to squirm, trying to make something happen here down the stretch.
Like Gorman's going for it. I mean, he's trying to find a submission off of his back here. Staying aggressive, but Gagnon in very good position and landing some nice ground and pound.
So the crowd responds as the Canadian looks to put the finishing touches on what would be his 3rd straight UFC win. Entertaining fight, Mitch Gagnon and Tim Gorman.
Well, this was a great fight, back and forth, but it was Gagnon who was very aggressive with his striking, landing some nice uppercuts to the head, nice uppercuts to the body, and a beautiful takedown there from Mitch Gagnon on the wrestler Tim Gorman. There's another left uppercut, landing it from both left and right footed stances, and there's another beautiful double leg in the 3rd round that Mitch Gagnon hit. Very impressive fight.
And impressed that both guys down the stretch were able to continue with the output, given how exhaustive that 2nd round in particular was for both guys. Mitch Gagnon looking to make a run here at 135 pounds. It's certainly getting crowded in that top 10. Came in tonight with that aforementioned 2-fight UFC winning streak. All right, the official decision is in. It resides with Bruce Butler.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. All 3 judges scored the contest 30-27, declaring the winner by unanimous decision, Mitch Gagnon.
Yes!
So make it 9 of 10 overall for Mitch Gagnon. He improves to 3-1 inside the octagon.
Let's go. All right, you guys are going